What's your most memorable story, like with Little Kim, or you got any memorable stories with with anybody in the game other than Tip?
Well, the joint I did on Kim, that's a memorable story. It was Custom Made, Give It To You. That was the title of it, because I named the beat Custom Made, and then she wanted to name it Give It To You. So, because I told her I had made the beat custom made for her and everything, so we named it Custom Made, Give It To You. And that was when I first met Craig Coleman, president of Atlantic Records, and my manager, shout out to Danny Glow, my past manager, he got us a meeting with Craig Coleman, and we went in there, played the beat. Next thing you know, Craig was like, I'm getting Kim on the phone right now. You know, I'm fresh in the game, I might have had like 1 or 2 placements. So we called Kim, I got this beat you really need to hear. She's like, okay, this, that, and the other. And the album was already done. They were about to go to print with the album and everything, but they were like, hold on. Craig was like, nah, stop the presses, you gotta hear this beat. So I guess maybe the next day or so, I went to the studio to play the beat for Kim. That's how I got cool with Lil C. And I played the beat, I was nervous, sweating, played the beat. As soon as the beat went off, Lil C was like, man, that's hard right there, Kim, that's hard, you need to do that, She's like, what? He's like, yeah, you need to do that right now. So she didn't do it then. Now this is the crazy part of the story. This was the longest session that I had ever been in for one song. This session took about a week and a half. The way it took so long is she was so busy because the album's about to come out, doing a lot of promo and everything. So they would set up studio time every day up at Hit Factory or at Daddy's house and everything. Every day they set up studio time. First day she didn't show up. So we just started having parties in the studio. You know what I mean? Second day she didn't show up. When we realized that she wasn't gonna be showing up, you know, I'm inviting friends over. You know, we got the food budget, the liquor budget. So we got we got girls in the studio. We got drinks. We just listening to music for like 12 hours, like 12 to 12 every day. And she didn't show up. So you know, she finally showed up probably on the 5th day and everything. Then when she showed up, boom, I tracked the beat, and the story gets even crazier. Track the beat. Now, I had the beat set up where she was supposed to start rapping after the first hook and just do 2 verses, and the song was going to be a complete 3 minutes 30 seconds long. But since I was an upcoming producer, she didn't really want me in the studio and everything. I'm like, well, I'm the producer. Everybody's like, well, Cam, you should let. She's like, nah. I think, you know, she had some writers for her. She didn't want everybody to really know, you know, she was getting writing assistance, this, that, and the other. So boom, we sitting in the lobby. She lays the joint. She calls me to listen to it. So I listened to it, and I'm like, okay, sounds good, but you started it too early. You started it right when the beat drops. That's why she says, I get right to the point. And I was like, but it wasn't supposed to start there, so now the song is too short. Now you need to add a 3rd verse. She's like, no, I'm not adding a 3rd verse. I'm like, but the song's gonna be too short. You need to add a 3rd verse. I even tried I moved her vocals over, but it didn't have the same effect because how she laid it and everything. So boom, that day, you know, the session ended. So we were back in there the next day. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna go home and write this verse, I'll come back tomorrow. So go back tomorrow. I'm like, all right, Kim, you gonna lay the 3rd verse? She's like, no, I thought about it, I'm not gonna lay a 3rd verse. So Puffy walks in. It's the first time I ever met Puffy. Puffy, he listens to it, and then it ends short. And then he starts whispering to Kim. Kim tells Puffy, oh no, he told me to do 2 verses. That's why it's like that. That's why it's short. He told me to make it short like that. And so Puff goes, Playboy. This is like my first like big placement, maybe my second. I'm in there with Puffy. Playboy, you told her to do 2 verses? I was like, okay, look, I'm about to tell you what happened. I told her to do 2 verses, but she started too early, and now I've been telling her to do 3rd verse, and she don't want to do it. He's like, Kim, I thought he said this, that, and the other. She's like, well, this, that, blah. So he's like, man, you need to do a 3rd verse. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna do a 3rd verse. So the next day, now this whole session, like I said, it lasted about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, because we going through this now, like 3 sessions of her supposedly gonna lay the 3rd verse. Next day, come in, she never lays the 3rd verse. Long story short, the song ended up too short because it was supposed to be a single, but Puff said short records die out too fast on the radio. So Funk Flex, he started, you know, he started blasting. Like I said, she never did the third verse. Funk Flex was trying to make it a single. I mean, he would play it like 20 times literally in a row because it was such a short song. He just keep playing it and bombing it. And you know, that was an experience, boy. That was an experience. We called it. It started off as hell. Then we went into purgatory because the hell part was, you know, she never showed up to the session. So I'm all excited at first, and then I'm like, oh man, she's never gonna show up to the session now. Oh man, I done told everybody I'm about to do this record on cam. It's not gonna happen. Then it got even worse because then it happened. Then she didn't want to put the third verse on it, but you know, it is what it is. It came out dope though. The song came out dope. It was just a wild experience, boy. The longest session ever. I can do a session in an hour. Somebody come in, lay the joint, we got a complete song in an hour. This joint took about 550 hours to get 2 verses, man. To get 2 verses. Shout out to Kim. You know what I mean? That's my peoples. Everybody, Lil C's. You know, I was with all of them. You know, not too long after Biggie passed. And they were some dedicated, you know, they were Biggie's dedicated fam. Like all they would talk about was Big, word to Big. You know what I mean? Like we say word is born and word, they were like word to Big, word to Big. You know, shout out to B.I.G. too, one of the greatest. And that's one of my stories. I probably got more. Probably got more.
What's your definition of an independent woman?
Well, to me, an independent woman is somebody who can do battle by themselves. Doesn't have to rely on a man.
A lot of them have their own businesses.
My future depends on me. You can leave them and it won't be no deal because you can still do everything you're doing before them.
I think that a lot of women thinks it means not needing anybody, and I think it means the opposite.
I don't think a woman should define herself as independent by social status or economic class.
You don't have to remind him you're making more money.
He's not going to sit down and let me work all day. As long as he's pulling his weight.
For me, it's not the dollar amount when it comes to a relationship. It comes down to the ambition of your man.
And if it's about a partnership, then really, you give a shit where the money comes from.
You can make less than me, that's okay.
That's what she says.
You know, a person who's a money status, I look at them as a prostitute to labels, a prostitute to material, a slave to cash.
Why is it always like a double standard for a man to be a little cocky with his when a woman, she has to be extremely humble now that she has the money? I don't think that's fair.
So I don't really gravitate towards the whole diva movement. I gravitate towards women.
Beyonce is considered a diva and she's definitely an independent woman.
If you have an ego, then you must go. Period.
Be a power couple. What's wrong with that? Why can't we have power couples?
You have, a married woman can say, I could be independent. I could sit on my own 2 feet.
I choose not to take care of myself by myself. I choose to have somebody.
It's not like I feel like I have to have, a man to complete my life. You know what I mean? I think he should be an addition.
I mean, she's independent. She would be able to sustain a certain level of stability for herself without me. You know what I'm saying? I compliment her and I add to that.
It's not about, okay, this is what I got, this is what you got, That tends to draw competition.
With independent women, it's kind of tricky.
I feel like I hear that a lot of independent women are getting stuck up more and more as the years go on. They're losing their feminine side. They're going into the realm of being a man.
To find somebody and to find love, you have to be willing to accept the person for who they are.
Like, if you think that you're going to dominate everything and just tell me and be in control of something, then there's no leverage for me to grow.
If he's not thinking that he doesn't have to be independent as well, then he probably, I don't know, I can't stipulate on what he's thinking.
We need to create a way for these relationships to work and, people to have expectations of what they could expect out of someone else.
Women say, I work. First of all, we go into relationships saying what they ain't going to do instead of what they are going to do. I work too. I'm not going to clean up. I'm not going to do that. Well, you know what? I work. So that don't mean that if your car break, I'm not supposed to fix the car. I still got to cut the yard. If the burglar break in, I still got to go get the burglar, and I work.
want equality, which is what we say we want, then go ahead and like own up and accept it.
I'm understand that, you know, we're a team and I need for you to be a man and do what a man is supposed to do.
And then, but having the man role, we're looked at as if we're probably, you know what I'm saying, gonna instantly try to use. We have the negative factor always down there.
Necessarily controlled by her man, but she can think she can support him the way she needs to.
And she wants a great man in her life, but you know what? She's not gonna go down, you know, go chasing one.
Defend themselves and their thoughts and their ideas and speak up.
Attractive thing about a woman or a man is when they can say confidently who they are, whether it fits the norm or not. To me, that's independence.
No such thing as an independent woman because we're all dependent upon each other.